Chris chose a 1.5-year mortgage. David chose a 3.0-year mortgage on the same house. Every financial advisor Chris talked to told him the 1.5-year was the smarter choice. They were all wrong. And the number sitting in David's investment account 30 years from now will make every mortgage broker who pushed the 1.5-year feel deeply uncomfortable. Let's run the real math. Let's make this completely fair. Chris and David are the same age, same city, same income. They both earn $95,000 a year. They both buy the same $320,000 house. They both put down 20%, $64,000. Their loan amount is identical, $256,000. The only difference is the mortgage term they choose. Chris chooses the 1.5-year mortgage. His interest rate is 6.5%. His monthly payment is approximately $2,230. He will pay off his house in 15 years. He will pay approximately $145,000 in total interest. His financial advisor congratulates him on his discipline. His parents are proud. His coworkers think he is being smart. David chooses the 3.0-year mortgage. His interest rate is 7%. His monthly payment is approximately $1,703. He will pay off his house in 30 years. He will pay approximately $357,000 in total interest. On paper, David pays $212,000 more in interest than Chris. That sounds terrible. The paper is lying to you. Here is the number that changes everything. The difference between Chris's monthly payment and David's monthly payment is $527 per month. Chris pays $527 more per month than David for the same house. That $527 is not free. It is not building extra equity. It is the premium Chris pays for the shorter term. And every single month, David takes that $527 and invests it in a total market index fund. This is the question nobody asks when comparing mortgage terms. What happens to the payment difference if you invested instead of giving it to the bank? Let's run the numbers over 15 years first. Chris has been paying $2,230 per month for 15 years. At year 15, Chris owns his home outright. His mortgage is paid off. He feels incredible. He has achieved something real and tangible. His equity position is approximately $320,000 plus whatever appreciation occurred. In a market appreciating at 3% annually, his home is worth approximately $498,000. He owns it completely. Zero debt. That is genuinely powerful. David has been paying $1,703 per month for 15 years. He still owes approximately $176,000 on his mortgage. He has been simultaneously investing $527 per month into a total market index fund. At 10% average annual return over 15 years, that $527 per month has grown to approximately $219,000 to $230,000. David has $219,000 in liquid investments and still owes $176,000 on his mortgage. His net position from the investment alone is approximately $43,000 to $54,000 ahead of zero. At the 15-year mark, Chris has a paid-off house. David has a partially paid-off house and $219,000 in investments. Chris feels ahead. The math says otherwise. Here is where the story separates completely. Chris paid off his mortgage at year 15. He now has $2,230 per month freed up. He starts investing aggressively. He is disciplined, and he puts the entire former mortgage payment into the market. $2,230 per month at 10% for the remaining 15 years of our comparison period. David has been investing $527 per month for 15 years. His portfolio is at $219,000. He continues investing $527 per month, but his $219,000 base is already compounding. Let's compare their positions at year 30. Chris's situation at year 30. He invested nothing for the first 15 years. He invested $2,230 per month for the second 15 years. His total contributions to investments over 30 years are approximately $401,400. His portfolio at year 30 at 10% average annual return is approximately $890,000 to $950,000. He also owns his house free and clear worth approximately $778,000. His total net worth position is approximately $1,670,000 to $1,730,000. David's situation at year 30. He invested $527 per month for all 30 years. His total investment contributions over 30 years are approximately $189,720. His portfolio at year 30 at 10% average annual return is approximately $1,060,000 to $1,130,000. He still owes approximately $0 on his mortgage because in a 30-year mortgage, year 30 is the final year. His house is also worth approximately $778,000. His total net worth position is approximately $1,838,000 to $1,908,000. David's total net worth is approximately $170,000 to $180,000 higher than Chris's. David invested $211,680 less in total contributions. David paid $212,000 more in mortgage interest, and David still ends up wealthier. That is the math nobody shows you when they tell you to get the 1-5-year mortgage. Now let's look at the liquidity dimension, because this is where the gap becomes genuinely dangerous for the 1-5-year mortgage holder. Chris's wealth at year 10 is almost entirely locked in home equity. It is real wealth, but it is completely illiquid. If Chris loses his job, gets sick, faces a medical emergency, or needs cash for any reason, his home equity cannot be quickly accessed. He would need to sell the house, take out a home equity loan, or refinance, all of which take time, cost money, and are not available if his income situation has deteriorated. David at year 10 has approximately $108,000 to $120,000 in his investment account, fully liquid, available in 2 to 3 business days. No application, no credit check, no interest. If David faces a financial emergency, he has a real financial cushion that does not require him to borrow against his own home. This difference in liquidity is not a small convenience. For most households, the period between year 5 and year 15 of a mortgage is statistically the highest risk period for financial disruption. Job losses, medical emergencies, divorces, business failures, the life events that require access to capital happen disproportionately during working age years. The 1-5-year mortgage concentrates all of your financial resources into an illiquid asset during exactly that period. Here is the risk argument for the 1-5-year mortgage, and it deserves a fair hearing. If David lacks the discipline to actually invest the $527 difference every month, the entire analysis collapses. The 3-0-year mortgage only wins if the payment difference is genuinely invested and not spent. For people who know from experience that they will not invest the difference, the forced savings mechanism of a higher mortgage payment has real behavioral value. The 1-5-year mortgage as a forced savings tool is a legitimate argument, but it is an argument about behavior, not math. The math always favors the 3-0-year with the difference invested. There is also the interest rate environment argument. Chris's 1-5-year rate is 6.5%. David's 3-0-year rate is 7%. The 0.5% rate advantage of the 1-5-year is real. But in a different interest rate environment where the spread is larger, 6% versus 7.5%, for example, the 1-5-year's math improves. The rate differential matters. If the 1-5-year rate is more than 1.5% below the 3-0-year rate, the math becomes much closer and potentially favors the 1-5-year in specific scenarios. Always run your specific numbers. And there is the psychological peace argument. Some people sleep dramatically better knowing their mortgage will be paid off in 15 years. The certainty of owning your home outright has real value that does not show up in a spreadsheet. If that peace of mind is worth $170,000 to you, the 1-5-year is the right choice. Personal finance is personal, but here is what the mortgage industry never tells you. You can have the best of both worlds. Take the 30-year mortgage. Make the required 30-year payment every month. Invest the $527 difference every month. When your investment account crosses $200,000, you have the option to pay off the mortgage entirely if you choose. Or you can let the investments continue compounding. You have the flexibility. The 15-year mortgage holder never had that flexibility. They were locked into the higher payment from day one. And if something went wrong financially, that lock-in was not a feature. It was a trap. Chris and David both wanted the same thing. They both wanted to own their home and build wealth simultaneously. Chris chose the path that felt more disciplined. David chose the path that was actually more optimal. The difference between them at year 30 is not discipline, it is math. And it is approximately $170,000 of math. The financial advice machine has been telling people to get the 15-year mortgage for decades. Pay less interest, build equity faster, be debt-free sooner. All of these are true statements. None of them account for what the payment difference could have become if invested. And ignoring opportunity cost is how a true statement becomes bad advice. So the next time a mortgage broker tells you to get the 15-year mortgage because you will save $212,000 in interest, ask them one question. What would the monthly payment difference be worth if invested at market returns over 30 years? Because the answer to that question is the only number that tells you which mortgage actually costs more, and it is the number they will never calculate for you.